and welcome. Today and for the next few weeks we're going to talk about meditation. It's a subject that everybody's interested in, many people want to do, and so I thought it might be good to talk about meditation in a purely practical way so that those of you who would like to take up this practice would be able to. And I think that the best place to start on this subject is to talk about, first of all, the reasons why somebody would want to meditate. That it is important to be clear in your own mind why it is that you want to meditate. And the reason why I say that this is important is because there are many different types of meditation having many different goals. And you need to do the practice which is suitable for your particular goal, whatever it happens to be. Now, it seems to me that you could say that the people who meditate for, or who are interested in meditation, are interested for one of three reasons. Practical reasons, or what I would call therapeutic reasons, or for want of a better term, for transcendental reasons. I think that the majority of people are interested in meditation for practical reasons. That is, they find that their life is very stressful, or they find that they've got a lot of anxiety, or they're not as happy as they would like to be, and they think that meditation will help them, and so they take up meditation to help improve the quality of their life. Now, all the research, and there is a lot of research on this subject now, indicates that meditation is very, very good for this. It actually does help you to relieve stress, and it does increase the quality of your life. So that's the first reason why people would take up the practice of meditation. The second reason why people would take up the practice of meditation is for therapeutic reasons. They have a serious psychological problem. They're suffering from clinical depression, or a great deal of anxiety, or perhaps even schizophrenia or something like this, and they think that meditation is going to cure them. They think that meditation is going to restore them to normality. Now, once again, meditation, given certain circumstances, has been shown to be able to assist people with some of these serious personality or psychological problems. So that would be a second reason why people take up meditation. And the third reason people would take up meditation would be what I would call for transcendental reasons. They want to attain union with God, or they want to attain nirvana, or they want to attain the first stage of enlightenment. And again, this is the whole purpose of meditation from the Buddhist perspective. The last two steps on the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path are Samma Sati and Samma Samadhi. These are two of the practices that orientate us towards and help us to attain a transcendental state called enlightenment. So this would be the third reason why somebody takes up meditation. Now, my feeling is that the second and the third reasons for taking up meditation, which I've just talked about, are problematic. While meditation could be very helpful to helping somebody in a therapeutic sense, the reality is that most meditation teachers are not experienced at guiding somebody who has psychological problems, and therefore meditation may actually aggravate their problem rather than sort it out. So if you are taking up, or if you want to take up meditation for therapeutic reasons, I would encourage you not to. I would encourage you to go to your psychoanalyst or your therapist or your psychiatrist or whatever it is, sort out that problem. And when you're back to your normal state, then take up meditation. I would discourage anybody taking up meditation for therapeutic reasons unless their therapist is the one who is teaching them the meditation. Then, for those who want to meditate for transcendental reasons, I would say that this is a problem too, because the reality is that the majority of people really don't know what they're talking about when they talk about the first stage of enlightenment or nirvana. So in actual fact, they're taking up meditation out of very idealistic and perhaps even romantic ideas. The basis of their desire for meditation is really not based on reality. And my experience is that people who take up meditation for these reasons, once again, sometimes get themselves into problems. The main problem being they become obsessed with so-called steps or stages that they're supposed to have attained or that they hope to attain. They get very caught up in these sort of theoretical steps and stages. Or the other one is they become very frustrated. You know, I've been meditating for 3 years and I'm still not enlightened. They become very frustrated. So my feeling is that the best reason to take up meditation is for purely practical reasons. To psychologically sort yourself out. To attain a degree of mental clarity and calm so that you can function in the world better. And the reality is, of course, that even if you take up meditation for transcendental reasons, you'd have to pass through this stage anyway. So today and in the future, I'm going to talk about meditation purely from a practical point of view. So let us consider that our goal in practicing meditation for the time being is purely practical. To help me function in the world better, to become a more relaxed, a more happy, a more tranquil person. Somebody who can deal with the knocks and blows of ordinary life. Now the second issue we have to look at when we're talking about meditation, and specifically Buddhist meditation, is this: that Buddhist meditation is a part of a whole system. It is a part of the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path. The Buddha didn't teach the Noble Onefold Path, right meditation. He taught the Noble Eightfold Path, of which things pertaining to meditation are in 2 of these stages. So, for example, you know, a battery or a spark plug or something like that gets a car moving. But if you only have the battery or the spark plugs in the car, it won't move. It's an essential part of getting a car to move. But in actual fact, all the other parts are essential too. So anybody who's taking up meditation needs to consider following the 5 precepts. Practicing right speech, avoiding drugs, alcohol and other drugs, and things like this. Meditation divorced from the other steps on the Noble Eightfold Path is unlikely to be as helpful as it would be otherwise. In other words, practicing meditation while making absolutely no other changes or modifications to your life, your behavior, your attitude is unlikely to be helpful. So, first of all, we have to be clear about why we want to meditate. Secondly, we have to be clear that meditation is a part of a whole. It can't be taken out of that whole and be expected to produce results. So having said that and having considered it, how do we start? It's really very simple. The Buddha talks about several primary steps in the practice of meditation. 4 of them, in fact. In the Satipatthana Sutta and several other suttas, he talks about, first of all, the place where you should meditate, the posture you should adopt for meditating, the actual practice itself. So let us have a look at these. Let's say you want to take up meditation. The first thing you have to consider is, where am I going to do it? And in the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha says, go to the forest, the root of a tree, or an empty house. Aranyagatu, Rukamulagatu, Sunyagara Gatu. So we need not go to the forest nowadays, but what we need is that, what the sutta makes it clear is, a place of solitude and relative silence. So this could be your room, or it could be your whole house, or it could be your flat, or indeed it could be the forest or the garden. First of all, you find a place where you're unlikely to be disturbed. If it's in your room or your house, you disconnect the phone, you turn off the television, the radio. It can be good to make arrangements so that you're unlikely to be disturbed during the time you do your meditation. The next one is your posture. Go to an empty place, forest, the root of a tree, and then you sit down with your legs crossed. Nisidati palankang abujitva. So you put a pillow under your buttocks, perhaps fold a blanket on the floor with a pillow on it, put your buttocks on the pillow, and cross or fold your legs. You put your hands in your lap, nestle your hands in your lap, or put them on your knees. And the important thing is, as you start and through the whole practice, in the beginning of your practice and years later, the most important thing is that the posture be comfortable, that you be comfortable in that state. Now, many people seem to think that the sign that your meditation is going well is that you don't move. People become obsessed with moving. In reality, it's quite okay to move. The reality is that if you are comfortable and your body is relaxed, there's no tension or anxiety or cramped muscles, chances are you will be still. Not because you're trying to be, but you're naturally comfortable, and so you're still. Throughout your practice, make sure that your body is comfortable and relaxed. And then he says, and keep your body straight. Ujjung kayam, which means to keep your back straight. Keep your back straight without being rigid. And of course, you don't have to sit on the floor, you could sit on a chair. Either way, make sure your back is straight. And then the third step is parimukkhang satting upattapetva. Arouse or evoke your mindfulness in front of you. Parimukkhang satting upattapetva. Pari, as in the English perimeter. Mukkhang, face or mouth. Upattapetva, bring up. Establish. Establish your mindfulness in front of you. And this is usually interpreted to mean, and I believe that it does, that you put your attention somewhere in the front of your face. And because it's called mindfulness of breathing, anapanasati, it must mean below your nose. Now, people can get really quite obsessed with the actual technique of meditating. Some teachers give exact and precise details and saying that it must be done this way. Others say that you must put your attention here. Some dispute that and say you must put your attention on the rise and fall of your abdomen. Some say that you must here, some say here, some say that you must count it, and so on. And these people can get extremely obsessed about these techniques. Now the reality is that nowhere in the Buddha's discourses does he give anything other than these general but clear enough instructions. Parimokkhang satting upattapetva. So the reality is that it really doesn't matter whether you put your attention here or here. The purpose is, will it help you to develop your mindfulness of the process of breathing? So I advise people to do this. Sit in a comfortable posture, nestle your hands in your lap, close your eyes and become aware of your breathing. Now it may be that quite naturally your attention goes here, or it may be quite natural that your attention goes to the rise and fall of your abdomen, or you might find that counting seems to be easier for you. Whichever way seems best for you, do that. And I would even suggest that for the first perhaps week that you're meditating, do it several different ways. Explore and find out which way is most comfortable, most convenient, and most useful for you. And having decided upon that particular way, stick to that. So you may count your breath from 1 to 10, or you may feel your breath, the warm air as you breathe out, the cool air as you breathe in. You may observe the rise and fall of your abdomen. It doesn't matter. Which way helps you to develop your mindfulness is best. And that's what the Buddha said. Parimokkhang satting upattapetva, having established your mindfulness in front of you, so satto va assa sati, satto passa sati. Mindfully you breathe in, mindfully you breathe out. Now this is very important. People think that the purpose of this practice is to concentrate, to develop concentration, samadhi. But in actual fact, neither in the name of the sutta, the Anapanasati Sutta, or in the phrase Parimokkhang satting upattapetva, does the Buddha talk about samadhi. He's talking about sati. The ability to be present with what is happening. The ability to be mindful of what is happening, or the ability to be aware of what is happening. Now when we sit comfortably and we become naturally still, when we put our hands in our lap and close our eyes, there will only be a limited number of things happening. There will be some sensations on the body, although not many. There won't be many sounds because you're in a fairly quiet place. The most noticeable thing that will be happening is that you're breathing. You're breathing all of the time. Since the moment you were born, you were breathing, but we hardly ever are aware of this wonderful, rhythmic, gentle behavior. Here what we do is we put aside all the clutter and concerns of ordinary life, we sit down quietly and start to become aware of ourselves, perhaps for the first time. With the eyes closed, sitting in a quiet room, we become aware of the fact that we are breathing. Now inevitably, we will start to become aware of other things. Thoughts will arise, probably lots of them. Our attention may be taken away by noises outside. It is inevitable that there will be some physical discomfort even, little tickling feelings on the body, some discomfort. None of this matters. None of this should be seen as a hindrance. None of it should be labelled a distraction. Simply note those experiences. Notice that you are no longer aware of your breath, and simply reassert your presence on your breath. Be here now. And in this now, I have chosen to be aware of the gentle in and out movement of my breath. And so that is what you do. Don't see the sounds, the thoughts, or the feelings as enemies, because they're not. So each time you notice that your attention has gone away to a sound or a thought or a feeling, simply know that that is happening and return to your breath. Reassert or re-establish your attention on your breath. Now, the next question is, how long should I meditate for? How long should I do this for? How long should I sit on a chair or with my legs crossed or folded on the floor and meditate? I recommend you do this. For the first week, at least once a day, do this practice for 15 minutes. Today, most clocks or watches have got some sort of alarm on them. Set your alarm for 15 minutes and put it behind you so that you're not looking at it all the time. And in that time, say, well, for the next 15 minutes, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm simply giving myself to being aware of my breathing. And just do that. So for the first week, you do it for 15 minutes. Next week, you extend it by 5 minutes. The week after that, you extend it by 5 minutes until you've got up to 45 minutes, and then you leave it at that. So starting with 15 minutes, gradually each week, adding 5 minutes to the time you meditate until you get up to 45 minutes. Another question that people ask is, what do I do if there's some irritating feeling, or my legs are aching, or my buttocks have become numb? As we said, you cannot judge the success of meditation by how still you are. You judge the success of your meditation by how mindful you are. Meditation is not a sit-still competition. So if it happens that you're meditating and then you notice a cramp in your knee or whatever, once again you simply note that and return to breathing mindfully. If you find that your attention keeps on going to that feeling, it's becoming quite uncomfortable, then what you do is you move. It's no problem. You haven't been defeated. You simply move and then return to being aware. However, there are several different ways to move. One way is to move the way we always do, which is without any awareness at all. It's just a automatic, even a mechanical reaction to an experience. But because the purpose of our practice is to become mindful, now what you do is, when you've decided that that irritating feeling or that cramped feeling needs to be responded to, then you make a note. I intend to respond to that feeling. Fully aware, you move your hand. Fully aware, you scratch it, or you itch it, or you readjust your posture. You return your hand, aware, and then you switch your attention, your awareness to your breath again. So in actual fact, if you do that, if you move with mindfulness, if you move fully aware, you have not really interrupted your practice. You've just shifted the object of your practice for a few moments. So there's a continuum, and there's no problem. Don't turn your meditation into a sit-still competition. How you judge the success or otherwise of your practice is not by how still you sit or how long you sit, but how mindful or aware you were. And if you do that, your meditation will be fruitful and it will help you. So next week we will start talking about the second stage in the practice of meditation. This week we've talked about, first of all, why you should meditate, for purely practical reasons. Then we talked about the 4 stages: finding a suitable place, putting your body in a suitable posture, the actual practice you do, and how to deal with problems. So that's the place you meditate, the posture you meditate in, the actual practice you use, and how you deal with specific problems. Next week we'll continue on the next stage that you need to go through to practice your meditation.